Welcome to the Holistic Health and Hormones podcast. Today we are discussing the spiritual science of health and mind, where ancient wisdom meets modern healing, and we explore the deeper truths behind what it means to truly thrive. In today's episode, we're joined by a holistic health coach who shares how each of us can take back our reins of our health, naturally, consciously, and powerfully. We dive into the healing power of nutrition, the connection between your mindset and your physical state, and how simple daily rituals like breathwork, affirmations, and energy awareness can become your sacred tools for long-lasting wellness. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by symptoms, dismissed by traditional approaches, or disconnected from your body's true potential, this episode is here to remind you that your body is wise and healing is possible, and you are far more powerful than you've been led to believe. Let's step into this sacred space of healing together now. Hello and welcome to the Holistic Health and Hormones podcast. I'm very excited to have Surya, who is a holistic health coach who empowers individuals to regain control over their health, guiding them to make sustainable lifestyle changes that supports chronic health issues such as blood sugar levels, cholesterol, high blood pressure, thyroid levels, stress management through his holistic harmonious healing modalities. He's passionate about health and nutrition ever since he was a child, learned acupressure at the age of 21, Reiki at the age of 25, and has also learned meditation, yoga, Kriya yogas, and pursued his diploma in health coaching from Integrative Nutrition in New York in 2014, followed by nutritional response testing, kinesiology, or readings, and the list goes on. So welcome, Surya. You speak my language. We have lots of things in common and modalities in common. So welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Eli, and a very good morning to you.
Good. So tell me sort of what got you into really this whole holistic healing? Like what was your childhood like growing up? And I guess maybe some passed down from generations. Like how did you get into understanding and really going down this holistic, sort of modalities and healing? Yeah.
So, basically, I'm, coming from India, like I've been in the United States for the past 25 years. So, back in India, if it was some kind of common cold or flu or anything, the plants used to be in our backyard. So we just used to go pluck some, eat some, or make a decoction out of it. And there were so many other home remedies which we were kind of using on a regular basis. And then, we slowly started seeing the pharmaceutical, pills kind of coming into the market. And of course, people were using it for different health concerns. However, my this thing was when I was using it and I have seen the changes in my body, I felt, hey, why should we take something outside, when we could actually cure ourselves? Kind of started using it. However, because my belief system was totally different. And at the age of 20, somebody, I think it was my neighbor who brought this book to me and gave it to me, which was like Health in Your Hands. It was acupressure and reflexology kind of a book. So at that age, I started kind of, going through it. And I was so surprised that there was so much to do with the health. And that books not only talks about several diseases, how they have reversed several diseases and all that, and how these were incorporated into our daily practices, in all the Asian modalities and all that. So I was so surprised. And so I started going through it at that age and kind of was using some of the points at that point. And then I was feeling good. And slowly that, I somehow got into the groove of chanting this, holy, what do you call these little poems or things like that. So
is that common with your, is that common with the culture? Like for most people to be sort of passed down, like it's like kind of like how in Chinese medicine, being Chinese, we get some things passed down through the generations. Like we know acupressure, even though they're not necessarily in medicine, you kind of know if you got a headache to take these decoctions and to press these massage points, acupressure points. So being an Indian background, was it passed down through your parents, grandparents, sort of saying these, chants and things like that? Was it part of the culture as well?
Yeah, I mean, it was basically that, from my grandfather, And, like we all as kids used to sit every night and we used to, do all this religious chantings and everything like that. And
Mm,
so, but the mantra which I basically picked up was somehow I would only think that that's a divine, like intervention. And I came across that. So
yeah.
I started that mantra and starting from 108, I kind of went to, like I stopped counting. I just kept on chanting it. And that,
Mm,
when I saw the transformation that started happening within my body, I was so surprised. It was not just my body, my mind and body, and how things were actually, kind of manifesting, even with that mantra.
mm,
I didn't even do it with a purpose. I just
yes.
felt it was good, so I started doing it. Yeah, so then at that very same time that, I was very fast, passionate about one particular saint from India, Vivekananda, who speaks so much about the philosophy. He doesn't speak much about the religion, he only speaks about the philosophy. His books were so simple, they were like little 20, 30 pages, some were even 100 pages, but each topic was very different. It spoke about the power of prayers. It
Yes.
spoke about the power of the mind, and his words were so profound. He says, all power is within you. You can
Yeah.
do anything and everything. Arise, awake, and express the divinity within you.
That's it.
That truly kind of hit me somewhere. And I'm like, it could be true when it is coming from a saint who's not speaking about any chantings or anything, but his message is so clear. And then, he was one of the saints who actually visited the US, several, like it was almost a century ago, to the US in the conference, the World Religious Conference, and he spoke about all this philosophy about Vedanta and everything. So I was very much into his books and I was going through all that. So that, the power of prayer and then the power of the conscious mind, subconscious mind, and all that, I slowly started understanding a bit, not completely, a bit,
Yeah.
because this was my self learning, so
Yeah, you just
there was
started
no,
like taking an interest. It's like going down so many
yes,
modalities, and I'm the same. I cover so many
yeah,
modalities, and like once you learn one thing, you could spend a
hmm,
whole lifetime just studying one
exactly,
modality, let alone, but
exactly, yeah.
everything links together. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And then came this Reiki healing into my life. So, I got so much into it, like without my knowledge, like my grandmaster who initiated me into Reiki. Then at the age of 25, that I was introduced to Reiki. And,
Yeah.
I was not kind of skeptical, but then I just wanted to see how that can help me. Doing
And how
one
did they
level
explain Reiki? What was your explanation? What was your understanding of Reiki at the time?
at that time, like my experience was prior to me learning Reiki.
Mm,
I was kind of, afraid of one particular exam, the Sun certification Java programmer exam, because then we had to pay a lot of money and I was kind of, concerned. And my mother, like who came across this, grandmaster, said, hey, don't worry about it. We know somebody who can send healing to you and that can help you. I
oh.
was like, really? I said, fine, that's fine. And I didn't even, pay much attention to it. But then when I was actually taking the exam, I was feeling something was kind of, hitting me. Like, I could
Mm,
feel the energy. I could feel where is it coming from? I didn't really know. And then after the exam, I called my parents. I mean, they were in a different city. I was in a different city. So I called them and told them, hey, I cleared the exam. And they said, wow, very nice. So now when you come to our hometown, we'll go meet the Reiki Grandmaster. I was like, sure,
mm,
why not? There is something,
yeah.
And then, when I went to her, she was explaining how I was thinking during the process. I was taken, like, I mean, what in the world is this? How is she able to know what I was doing at that point of time? Then I said, then definitely there is some science behind it because we keep hearing about telepathy and things like that. So I said, let me learn it. So I've learned the first, like the initial and the second, and then the masters. I started seeing changes in my life. My thoughts started changing. That's when, for the first time, that I've learned what affirmations were.
Dr. Emoto's work, in Japan, he first
Exactly.
promoted that. So for those who don't know, when you put a specific, because words are actually frequencies. For those that don't know, so when we're speaking a word, it has a frequency to it, and every word has a vibration, and that's why they call things spelling, because when you're saying words, you're actually spelling something, a good spell or a bad spell. So people have to be very conscious of what they're saying out loud or in their minds, because it's hugely important. And you can see how plants, so we're doing a study like you mentioned, the plants beautifully when there was love and classical music, that if there was hate and negative energy, awful music, the plants died. It's very interesting.
Yeah. It's the frequency and the emotion attached to it.
Correct.
Right? When we put so much of love, when you say it, I love you, rather than say, I love you, coming from here versus coming from deep within, feeling makes a lot of difference. That when I actually started experiencing it and understanding it much better, then I started understanding, how my mom used to cook with so much of love and affection, and that used to taste so good. I started understanding, wow, the emotions are flowing from her heart when she's cooking.
I said that to a chef the other day. A chef came in, and he has a very busy Italian restaurant here in Sydney. And I said, what makes your food so amazing? I've heard great things. He goes, it's done with love. Exactly the same. If they're really feeling the passion when they're cooking. And most good cooks say, well, it's just love. I sprinkle it with love. That energy transforms into the cooking, right? It's all energy that you're cooking with the sense that you're trying to feed the family, and you're doing it because you really want to, not because I'm just making a quick meal and
no. So true. Yep. So all these aspects, the dots were all kind of getting connected to me of how we are connected, how individuals are connected, how anything living and non-living we are using, and how the energy is having an impact. And then I read a book subsequently in the year 2000s, a book called as An Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahamsa Yogananda. So even in that, Yogananda explains that there is no difference between living to non-living, because everything has
connected.
Everything is consciousness, right? It's the level of consciousness which varies from the dead to the living, however they too can feel. So I was like, wow, that's so true. If you tend to give love to your table or your chair, that will last you long. If you try to bang it, what are you giving? What are you giving it?
Well, people are like, it's not a real thing, but you got to think the chair is coming from wood, which came from everything was made from something, right? Even if it's synthetic, it's coming from some living thing, usually at
one point of time. Yes.
And most people just don't, let alone look after their inanimate objects, supposedly. They're not even really looking after themselves. So I guess really, what does it mean for people out there listening to really take control of their health in today's world? So many people are disconnected from reality. They're disconnected from their own bodies. They're disconnected from their mind. They're so disconnected. And, what does it mean to really take control of that health in today's world, in your opinion?
Absolutely. There are various aspects in which we can look at it. First thing is, for sure, we are, moving away from what is called as a natural way of living and away from nature. Away from nature, for some people, it's very difficult, because we are all kind of moving to the cities where we do not have that much of greenery and, getting connected or living. However, that doesn't stop them from kind of, living a natural life. Still, people can live a very decent life because everything is in the mind. How you think, how you want to be, everything is in your mind. The power of mind is so profound that, if you try to focus on that and look at the healthcare costs that are raising by day, everywhere, and even the insurance. If you look at the insurance by itself, it is becoming so expensive in the US, and the tests that were covered 2 years ago are not being covered now, And not only that, even the medications and everything is becoming way expensive. If people have pre-existing conditions, that's getting worse that's getting worse. So my point is, if we, look back of how we lived, as we grew up as kids, we were not dependent on so many medications. We were still trying to live a better life. But what started happening is the influence of media and, the TV advertisements and things like that. We started
Yeah.
getting fascinated towards so many things that our
Quick
lifestyle
fix.
has.
I think that's a thing. The quick fix, right? Most humans are, they have a
Exactly.
headache, quick fix. I have a headache, next day,
Exactly.
another quick fix. But they're not looking at why, going through, am I getting the headache in the first place? Instead of headache pill, or stomach, pill, right? It's not that people want a quick fix now. They're so rushed all the time. And I think a lot of people don't take the time to really spend time
Hmm.
thinking,
Yep.
reflecting, going into nature,
Exactly.
like you said, eating, even like people rush when they eat instead of
Yep.
sitting down and having a meal and eating in silence, eating in quiet, but allowing the body to absorb and be thankful of the food. Again, like when we're eating, that's whether you're
Absolutely.
vegetarian or not, that is all food that has been grown in nature and all has some
Yes.
energy.
Yes. Yes.
So people rush, and in that the whole stress, they're not really taking the time to go back to basics, like you said, spending time on their own self-care, reflection,
Yes. Yes.
mindfulness.
Yes. Yes. First of all, yeah, taking time for ourselves is very important. You know
Yeah.
why? In a family of four, like, between wife and husband and two kids or a kid or something, if one adult gets sick or if a kid falls sick, someone
Yeah.
has to stay home to take care of the kid. If not, if, one of the, parents gets sick, then the whole load is going to be on the other parent, that they have
Mm,
to, they have to take care of their office, they have to take care of their home chores, picking up the kids and everything. And then subsequently, that individual also may fall sick because
yeah.
of the overburn, right? So it is so crucial for everyone to keep very good health, but at the same time, how naturally we can do it is what we need to be looking at. The reason is, if you fall sick and you run to a doctor, and if the fever is not coming down, or, immediately antibiotics are being suggested. So
Mm,
people tend to get it, and that course is going to, a course of 5 days or 7 days, is going to kill your whole white blood
right.
cells. And the next time you're hit, one course is not going to be sufficient. They'll suggest two courses, one after the other, because it's not coming down. So your body's immunity is getting compromised over a
Mm,
period of time, and your body is becoming hollow from within.
that's right.
They try to consume these natural things, adopt. See, I mean, food is one aspect of it, right? What we do physically and what we do mentally are the other key aspects,
That's right.
right? So the physical aspects, get some good air, be in the sun for a while,
Exercise, go into nature.
go
Yeah.
into nature, run, be in nature, and get the fresh oxygen rather than sitting in the air conditioned rooms for like for long hours and
Yeah.
trying to inhale the same
Yeah.
air circulating around
For
is not going to
everyone who's inhaling the same air in the whole building. Yeah.
exactly, and your mind is not clear, so you just need to
Mm,
get that little fresh air. And consciously, what we can do when you're actually out, sit somewhere and do conscious breathing,
that's
maybe
right.
for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
five
it doesn't
minutes
take long. People are like, I don't know how to meditate. I don't have the time.
Yeah,
Well, you will have long-term health outcomes if you just spend a little few minutes. If you can't find a few minutes in your day, there's something seriously wrong.
absolutely, absolutely. That's the reason I always say, my friend, if you have any concerns, you need to take time out for yourself. You need to
Yeah.
prioritize. Say you have 6 things to do in a day and you think you only will be able to do three, then do not worry about the remaining three, because the very reason, before hitting the bed, if you start thinking that, oh my God, I have three more things to do, now what is happening? This very thought in your conscious state is going to seep into your subconscious. And every day you keep on thinking the same way, it is going to go to your superconscious. And now that is going to be a very big stress factor in your life that can cause mental illness,
Yes.
right?
There's so much mental illness around, right? There's a
Exactly.
huge push for fixing mental illness or addressing it, but they're
Yes.
not really going about it, I think, in a holistic way. Sure, they're forming groups, but there's not a lot of really deep practices like, what the Chinese, what the
Mhm.
Indians do, like
Yep.
really going deep into some of these practices.
Exactly.
Because just going on antidepressants and go, oh yeah, there's a big mental health crisis, but
Yeah.
there's so much that has contributed to that there's still not a lot that is really being done on a global level, right? Apart from
Exactly. Yep.
medication and things like
Hmm.
that,
Yep.
about really understanding the power, like, you and I spreading the word, but and many others, but the power of the unconscious mind and really doing these deep, practices daily, right? That's what
Yep.
it takes.
Yep.
Um,
Exactly. And I mean, all that it matters is like few minutes. If we do
yeah.
not have few minutes for ourselves today,
Mm.
I can't imagine, I truly cannot imagine, because what is more important to me than my own health,
That's right.
right?
Well, you can't do anything if you're not in good health,
You can't
right?
do
Because
anything. You
if
can't
you're
do anything.
suffering mentally or you're suffering physically, what
Yep.
point are you to anybody, right? Whether you're stressing for your boss, you're trying to
Hmm.
get work done, but you're not in any productive, calm way. You're actually way more productive if you actually take a few minutes in the morning to set
Yep.
some sort of routine. You're
Yep.
actually going to be much more balanced, much more relaxed, and being healthy of the
True.
mind and of the body,
Yep.
you're actually going to be much more useful to the people around you than, than
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
stressful nature that everyone is rushing around in.
Yep. So
Yeah.
true. So true, really.
So what is some of the holistic nutrition that's different from conventional diet advice? I mean, I can add to that, but what have you come across that is really so different from, going to a doctor? I don't think they give any advice at all really on diet, but holistic nutrition is so different from just the everyday advice that people are getting.
Yeah. I mean, as a matter of fact, like some dietitians, or if you look at some programs, they say, okay, eat this many, these berries and eat so much of, protein. So it's like every body is designed so separately. It's very different. Individual is different. So we cannot kind of, suggest the same pattern to everybody, and because they have certain things missing in the conventional dietary things, right? So the holistic takes into account the very individual's body, what his deficiencies are, what his not just the physical thing, and even mentally, if you could look at what he is deprived of. If it is sleep, then you need to focus on certain things. But again, you need to go to the reason, the actual root cause of that issue, where it is coming from. So when I speak to my clients, the first time, I ask them so many questions in so many different angles to understand their social life, their family life, their work life, to understand
everything's affecting, right? All the stresses. It
impacting.
could be it's coming from work, or it's
Yep.
coming from some recent traumatic event, right?
Exactly. So I ask them all that, and I even ask their history about their medical condition, and try to understand, and then try to suggest one thing at a time on top of everything. Like I've seen so many people like who eat organic foods, who are working out in the gym for 1.5 hours, however they're very stressed out.
Yeah.
The reason is their mind is so worried. Their mind is so worried.
Yes. And then what you're doing is sort of counterbalancing what your mind is. If you can get the mind in, then everything else will flow if you can get that mindset.
Exactly. Trying to calm down your mind, or trying to bring the stress out of your mind, and whatever you eat or little changes that you make is going to give a good impact to your overall health.
Effect. Yes.
So yeah, this is what, the conventional, diets and everything, like, I mean, people who are recommendations, these things, they are like standard for everybody out there. I'm like, body is different. You cannot simply, one, for maybe avocado is the best, fruit out there. However, that may not be suiting for so many people out there.
Yeah.
Out of 100, maybe it is 20 people who may not even, can't even
there's
take.
people who have an inflammatory response. Like my son has an inflammatory response to tomatoes and to potato. And you think, oh, that's fine. That's healthy. But not to everyone.
Not to everyone. Exactly. No. So trying to understand every individual, and then, like suggesting what could be needed. And again, the biggest problem is eating in moderation has been totally forgotten. People are consuming.
Yes. They're eating so full, 110% full, right? They think I've got to indulge, I've got to eat, entree, main, dessert, for every meal.
So that's the biggest problem, that, they're not letting their bodies, even understand what they're putting into it.
That's right. Yeah. And I guess coming back to eating, I mean, how can food really, especially in your culture, How can food become a spiritual practice, not just pure physical nourishment? How do you see food as being spiritual?
Honestly, we have a line in Sanskrit which says Annam Parabrahma Swarupam. What it basically translates to is food is divine. It's a super divine thing.
From God, it's come from the divine. Grown needs the sun and the environment to flourish.
And there is life in it. There is life in it. The seeds, the grain has life in it. The plant has life. So there is life. And that is the reason if you keep the seeds aside, you eat the rest of it. But, when you soak them and again you kind of plant them, they become... See, that has life. That has so much of life in it. So it's not only that, a farmer who has taken so much of care in order to grow it, we should respect. That is another value out of it, right? So not only that, the practices basically, me looking at it from India is definitely this aspect of kind of, being in gratitude, first worshipping, just bowing, and then, be thankful to God for having given us this meal today. And then the way you eat is very conscious. That is how it was all, growing up and everything. You eat it, you mix it with your hands because the 5 elements which we are made up of are there. The energy is there in your hands. So you mix it with your hands, and when you put it, you chew it so well that it becomes liquid, and that liquid you swallow.
Whereas most people are taking a few bites and then swallowing these big chunks of
swallow.
They're too eating.
So, food is if you look at the Greek philosophy and everything, they basically, food is medicine, right?
Yes.
It is so true. And so is the case with Chinese. Everybody out there used to respect food like anything, So each religion or each region had its own way of looking at it, but everybody considered it, very precious and very holy, because that is what is giving you the energy. That is what is giving you energy. So the very thought of it being so sacred, so precious and everything, and when you're eating with that gratitude, it is getting digested easily, and that is giving you the energy that is needed in order to do good things in your life, right? So the philosophy part is very true because it all depends on what you believe in. If you do not believe it, which means your belief system is different, it doesn't work for you. If you believe in this, it definitely works for you. So that is how what you believe consciously, goes into your subconscious mind, and that with affirmations or prayers connecting to the universal consciousness takes you to the super conscious state of mind when things get materialized. This is the link that I basically, always have seen from a conscious mind. What we do consciously, repeatedly over a period of time becomes your subconscious, goes to your subconscious mind. And this, when added with affirmations, prayers, all this, you're able to connect to the super consciousness out there, the universal consciousness.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So what daily practices do you recommend for people and for some of your clients to stay in that alignment with the body's natural healing intelligence? What does your practice look like, and what do you say people to start with in terms of, some basic practices?
Absolutely. And again, every individual, when they come out, I look at their busy schedules and, I look at how they are and, what they can easily connect to. Some people have some kind of, an exposure to meditation or some yoga, but some people don't actually have anything, right? For them, I kind of, for everyone that I do suggest some acupressure points and some mudras to begin with. However, the breathing exercises is what I ask them in the very initial stages, because if I start speaking about conscious to subconscious, people cannot relate to it unless they experience to some extent with the breathing exercises that I kind of suggest. So the breathing exercises, slowly ask them to do this. I show them how to do it. And when they do it, start, seeing that their lung capacity is increasing. When they were initially able to inhale for 5 to 6 seconds, after a 2 days or 3 days with the techniques which I suggest, they'll be able to do it for more than 10 to 11 seconds, which means they can see the, kind of more
I
oxygen
can
getting
feel,
into,
the
they can
difference.
feel it, the difference. And then they come back and then say, hey, we really felt good. What next? And I give them another, breathing exercise in a simplified way. I do not suggest anything which is very complicated, which they can easily adapt and adopt into their lives very
Yeah.
easily, is what I
Yeah.
suggest. So these are then comes the eating habits. I take them step by step. The eating habits, how to eat, what can be good for you, what cannot, and
Mm,
like if their conditions are like high cholesterol or anything like that, I would suggest going to greens more, green leafy. And but you can't ask somebody who has been eating a lot of red meat to stop it immediately. They have to do it slowly,
only,
slowly,
yeah.
slowly. But I would not even suggest to completely stop it. I'm not asking them to become vegetarians. I'm like, reduce the frequency of your
Yeah.
consumption,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Reduce the frequency of your consumption. As you keep doing that, you will start seeing that the more greens are having a lot of impact, shedding weight. The more you kind of, lose weight, and the more you breathe, and the way you think is actually bringing the stress down in your body.
Yeah.
That they can experience. I mean, their chemistry is not going to change in a month or so, because we know
Mm,
blood
yes.
transformation takes at least 3 months.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
They will start seeing changes as they keep practicing whatever that I've been suggesting. And, for some people who have been very busy with their life, in their life with their schedules, like working 2 jobs and things like that, for them, it took a little longer for them to see significant changes in their cholesterol levels and, diabetes. However, they did see a very good change, and they started feeling good because their lives, because if somebody who's very kind of diabetic and has no energy after they come back home to do the chores or interact with their kids or
Mm,
that is impacting their lives in a very big way, because
yeah.
the family is falling apart, and the parent, he is not able to do anything much as a parent, or she's not able to do much as a mother. So that is impacting their family life. So that's when I suggest, what, slowly start incorporating these changes. At the same time, your thoughts have to change.
Stop
Everything is not in
focusing
your
on illness and disease, right? Start focusing on
exact
healing. Yeah.
healing. Forget about it. See, first thing is I give them hope, a hope saying that I will help you, but it is you who has to do it,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It is you who
We
has to
can't make
do
them
it.
do anything, right? Everyone has to make their
Exactly.
own
You
choices.
have to do it, but you have to take the time out. And given your busy schedule, I will only suggest few things. So you could do it between your office breaks, or in your office, in between breaks also you can do these little things. You will be able to see the changes in your body slowly, slowly. You'll start feeling the energy gushing into your body. And then, you can change your diet, but change your thoughts as well.
Yeah.
Your thoughts are very powerful. Don't, keep on thinking about anything negative. If you try to bring any past negative thoughts, that person hurt me, he did this, or you're bringing that into the present. You're spoiling the present as well as the
Yeah.
future.
You're going to
Because
go downhill, right? You start bringing a thought in, the emotions come in. If it's a negative
exactly,
thought, and you
exactly. Yeah.
spiraled out of that few moments already.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
So
takes the body some time.
exactly. So I kind of, have to give them this perspective that, no one is perfect in this world. We do mistakes, people do mistakes. But, if you start carrying all those mistakes with you,
Yeah.
that he did it, I did it, that is going to kill you
Blame.
like anything.
Yeah.
Forget about it. We are not perfectionists. We do not want to be perfectionists. Accept the fact that a mistake has happened. Ignore it, accept it happened, now move forward in life.
Yeah.
That is a big healing aspect, which
Forgiveness and moving on.
forgiveness,
People like to hold blame. A lot of people like to blame and hold on to resentment, blame, guilt, to all the negative emotions, which are extremely. The negative emotions is what makes people sick. If we have a thought without an attached emotion, right, and we're neutral in that emotion, we have a thought, we go, okay, that comes in, we let it out. There's no emotional charge. There's no reaction to the body, but it's when a thought plus an emotional charge, negative emotional charge, will cause
True.
chronic illness to start building up. And that's That's what I've seen as yourself. But how would you guide your clients to feel more empowered rather than overwhelmed in their healing journey? So you said starting with some easy things like breath work. Any other things to help them feel empowered?
Yes, definitely that, the acupressure points,
Yes,
when I
love
suggest them,
acupuncture.
they actually help increase the blood circulation to those particular organs, to the brain, to the heart. And, people start feeling much better with several points that I kind of show them. And, that is one thing. And putting your hand positions in certain mudras
Yep.
actually helps stimulate a lot of blood circulation. And
Mm.
even kind of calm down your mind, your breath, your heart rate, and things like that. So they start learning all these aspects along with the breath work. And then, I kind of look at their existing diets and see which can be slowly needs to be removed. The processed foods, the milk, and, the sugars, the sodas,
The soda. People love their sodas.
So, and the very fact that people forget to drink water, that's the biggest
Oh,
thing.
oh, I see that a lot.
That's
I'm
the
like, how much
biggest
water
thing.
do you drink? They're like 1 cup, 2 cups, and about 4 cups of coffee. I went, oh my goodness. People have all their other drinks except for water. Yes.
Exactly. So I kind of, asking them how much they drink on a daily basis and what timings do they drink. And some people are like excessively drinking water when it is not needed because they're forgetting the fact that it is going to, deplete them of their body salts.
Electrolyte. Yes.
Electrolytes, yeah. So, that is not a good way of doing it. You need to see how much of physical exertion you've
That's
had.
right.
What
Drink
is your
more if
body?
you're being active on that day, right? Less in winter.
Exactly. Yeah. So you need to observe,
Make the subtle changes. People are
Exactly.
not aware of the subtle changes in their bodies, right? It's not until it becomes really bad or they think, oh, it's okay. It's just a small thing and they just band-aid it until it becomes bigger and bigger. They're not working on things when your body gives you signs, but you have to be aware, you have to listen and observe and make the changes earlier rather than later, I guess. So I guess just wrapping up, because we can talk for a long time, there's so much to cover in holistic healing, but what does it mean to you really to live in that sacred state, that spiritual state of health and wellness?
What does it mean for me to live in that?
To be in that sacred state, that spiritual state of health and well-being.
Well, to me, it is like, first thing is, I truly love helping, those and, people getting benefited out of what I, have learned it through my own way rather than going through many other, I do practice so many things, but it's more of the theoretical. It's my knowledge has been a realized knowledge. I've realized during my meditation, I've realized during my chantings, I've realized during my affirmations. So this particular realized knowledge, when I basically share with others, and they truly see the impact of that happening in their own life, that gives me a lot of happiness. And this spiritual, holistic healing to me is something that I don't know. I'm out of words. I just love doing it because we are all so well connected. We are supposed to be part of the nature and we are moving away from it. And the future, I cannot visualize myself like, being in this pharmaceutical rut and, getting pills after pills and killing ourselves. Why do you want to go after all that? Why not choose the natural ways that we grew up with, our parents have grown up with, right?
Sure.
Nature is the healer. Nature is the healer.
That's right. Everything we need is there that we need.
Is in nature. Everything we need is in nature. So if we only calm down our mind and, try to listen to our body, nature is going to give you, or the universe is going to give you those answers. While people, they go for a walk in beautiful nature, they still have their ears plugged. They're listening to some songs. I'm like, please let the energy be absorbed into your body because your conscious mind, you're trying to put too many at the same time. No, it can't. If you want the full benefit of you walking in nature, don't plug your ears.
Yes, and those earphones are very high with EMFs, I'm telling you.
Exactly. That's one thing.
And depends on what you're listening to too. If you're trying to do multitask, just absorb nature, smell the sounds, see the sights, right? Just,
Yep.
be
Yep.
aware of your surroundings, because it's hard to do a lot of things at once, right? Just be present. And if you can't even take a few moments to walk in nature without earphones or walk around the block, some people want to walk, but they want to listen to something at the same time,
True.
right? Yeah, see it at the gym. They're gymming as well as doing 3 other things at the same time, probably checking emails, listening, and trying to run at the same time, right? It's like,
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
focus on one thing
Too
at a
many
time.
multitasking,
Yeah.
our mind, our bodies are not, accepting that. As we age, we're not able to do all that, and that is causing a lot of stress. Especially when you're going to nature, submit yourself to the divine nature. You have a lot of oxygen. You
Listen
look
to
at
the bird sounds.
Exactly.
You're like, oh, there's so many sounds that you don't normally hear. It's so fascinating. Nature just absorbing it all, like all your 5 senses. Right?
Yeah.
So powerful. And I guess what's one powerful first step really you get someone to take to begin their journey to reclaim their health naturally? What's the first step that you advise people to take?
First step that I would advise people to take is that not to lose faith in themselves, and even if they think that it's a genetical, not to give up hope, and start slowly with some breathing exercises, slowly with a calm mind, breathing exercises, and observe what you're eating, observe what you're doing.
Yeah.
A conscious living is what is needed, which means we need to calm down our minds and see what we are doing every moment, not rushing away. If you keep rushing and rushing, the healing is not going to happen. The natural healing is not going to happen. So we need to calm down ourselves and kind of focus one thing at a time and do things consciously. This very aspect of consciously doing things is going to show them a good difference in their lives to begin with.
Yeah. And I think lastly, just love and honor your body, no matter where it's at, whether it's sick, whether it's healthy. Just be mindful, like if you're going through chronic illness, right, you can reverse it, right? Anything is possible. People have come back from stage 4 cancer. Anything is absolutely possible. But just love, forgive your body, and just start treating it with more respect, I think, moving forward. A lot of people are just, your body is supposedly a temple. We've only got, this one body to serve us for, the length of our life. And so, just treat it with some respect. Put good things into it, honor it and love your body. All right. Thank you so much, Surya. It's been an amazing conversation, and it's been so enlightening, and I'm sure the listeners learned a lot of things. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Eli. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to the Holistic Health and Hormones podcast. If you found today's episode inspiring or informative, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. It'll help us reach more women like you on their journey to vibrant health and balance. For more tips, resources, or to work with me directly, visit my websites. And remember, your health is your superpower. Keep nurturing it, and I'll see you in the next episode.